Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution, the show for anyone with a service drive. Please say hello to Christian Lafferty. Hello, Christian.
Hello, how are you?
He's wearing a parts hold shirt.
A little more creative than last week's.
Are we going to do like a short run of these shirts? Like, are we going to sell them?
We have another one, actually, and then I think what we're going to do is make a run of the best one.
Oh, I think they would all sell.
Yeah, this one's my favorite, personally.
Some people might want to have all three, like... we can just do a short little run on them. It'd be fun.
That would be pretty cool.
I like it. Today on the show, we're going to talk about something that was brought up by an elite member. Oddly, I think he posted this on YouTube or something.
I think you're right.
His nickname in our little secret world is the Soprano.
And then he's got a
He's
picture
from Jersey.
He's got a picture of Tony Soprano attached to
He
his...
kind of looks a little bit like he could have been in that crew.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
In the crew. He's not...
He's not Tony, but he could definitely be one of the henchmen.
He wanted us to talk about time management. So we're going to talk about our 5 tips for time management. There's a whole chapter in Irreplaceable Service Manager, the book, on time management, which we recently in our pre-production meeting read, and it's pretty good. Like, I don't know. I don't go back and read this book because once I read a book, I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah, that would make perfect sense. It's not like you're going back and
good.
watching. Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, I wrote that?
Yeah.
Like, impressed with myself. Does that ever happen when you get impressed with yourself?
Not very often.
Oh, no? I'm pretty impressed with myself. I'm in love I'm in love with myself.
Well, I think it's good to love ourselves, right? But maybe you're in love, like you're feeling an infatuation type thing going on right now.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Speaking of time, so I heard this story once that there was a lawyer sitting in an office and death came down and took him, and he's like, "Wait a minute, why are you taking me already? I'm only 40 years old." And death says, "Not judged on the billable hours."
So the joke is that lawyers bill more than they actually are doing.
Time management.
That's pretty funny. I like it. Now, so the question about, hey, could you guys talk about time management came in from Mr. Soprano. But I just want you to know that you can call in at any time to the hotline, the Service Drive Revolution hotline, and we will answer your questions. They don't just have to be about service.
No, we're ready to tackle the other stuff.
Yeah. So the number is 8333-ASK-SDR. That's 8333-ASK-STR or 8333-275737. Leave a voicemail on there. If we play it on the show, we will send you swag like a t-shirt, hat, coffee mug, that sort of thing. What's been going on, Christian? What's new in the zoo?
Oh gosh, really, really busy. I mean, it's been really, really. We're fortunate that we've kind of come out of this thing stronger than we went in, and it's a good thing that we're getting to back into the dealerships and spending time with clients and stuff like that. I really love all the things that we have going on, both in the independent and dealer world right now. I feel like it's a good time for us. We're getting ready to go into 2021, and I think it's going to be a badass year.
Yeah, you had me interview somebody the other day to be a coach in Canada, which was funny because you want to move somebody from America to Canada to be the coach. But that aside, they worked for a company that had 27 consultants laid off.
Yeah. I'd actually, I worked with that company as a manager before.
Like they came in and...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with those contracts with manufacturers is you ramp up and then you ramp down.
Yeah.
And it's too much. I'm not into it.
I agree. I think that's the thing is it's what I would call the wrong frame. Like it's not the client's not really inviting you in. It's not a partnership.
You're there to do the devil's work.
That's right, and you're the enemy.
Yeah, you're the factory guy basically.
That's
to
right.
some degree. They're just placating you. We actually, Christian, we want to change lives. We want managers to make more money, be free, happy, have a toolbox. We want to teach the new stuff, not that old stuff that the manufacturers are stuck They're kind of stuck. They keep thinking a tablet is going to fix it.
Yeah.
Or a quick lane is going to fix it. They don't get it. You can't put lipstick on a pig.
Although it might make a good TikTok video.
You can, but it's still a pig. That's the joke.
Right.
Like, let me pretend like I'm you telling me a joke. Can you put lipstick on a pig?
I don't think so.
It's still a pig. Is that how I laugh?
Yeah, kind of.
That's funny. Okay, let's talk about time management. We could talk about this for a long time.
No pun
Do
intended.
you want me to reference my notes, or do you want me to go to the book?
So I'm with you that I think that the book segment, you outdid yourself. It's pretty darn good.
90-day roadmap to your best fix ops month ever. Irreplaceable service manager. I remember when I wrote this book, the chapter on time management was very close to my heart. Because, you know, a lot of times when you're teaching something, you're also organizing yourself to be better at it.
Mm-hmm. I would guess the best thing for your time management is you wrote that thing. For sure, because I bet you started to practice what you preached even more. Because there are some specific tools in there.
I definitely figured out some things that were working for me, and I couldn't wait to share them.
Yeah.
I remember that. And you can tell there's a lot of enthusiasm in this. Even how I kind of double down at the beginning of this chapter. Let's see what the quote is. I gotta put on my glasses. I can't read without my glasses.
It's that time for us.
So it's chapter 8, time management, and the quote I put at the beginning is, being busy does not always mean real work. The object of all work is production or accomplishment. In either of these ends, there must be forethought, system, planning, intelligence, and honest purpose, as well as perspiration. Seeming to do it, not doing. Thomas Edison.
That's solid.
Nice. Okay. So let's talk about time management. So in the book, a little different than in our notes, number 1 is focus on the right things. So I don't know that now if I did this, that would be number 1. You know what would be number 1 now?
I don't.
Have value for your time. Like the thing that I've found about time management is how you feel about yourself is how you value your time, and then that drives what you do. So if you have no perception or value of your time, you'll give it away to any dumb clown that wants to take it.
Yeah.
So people will steal your time and you give it away freely because you don't have any value. Your self-esteem for yourself is so low, you're just willing to you'd rather just feel busy, because then feeling busy feels like you did something, but you go home every day and you have no clue whether you won or lost. It's right. Basically summarizing probably 80% of people out there.
Yeah, you have no scorecard, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things that you do with the clients. There's this exercise that you do that really quantifies what the value of time is.
I wasn't going to bring up the exercise.
You don't have to go into it in detail.
It was in my mind, but I wasn't going to bring it up. Shoot. I remember we did that exercise with a group not that long ago, and the exercise is definitely a gotcha.
Yeah, it's a gotcha. Like it's a jaw dropper on the ground.
Yeah, you're like, I hate you. That's what they always say. Yeah. You got me. So would you agree that before anything else, you having a certain value to your time is going to then drive how you interact with everybody else and your expectations of them? And an example, I know I asked you a question and now I'm talking, but an example of that really kind of hit home was in Chet Holmes' book, The Ultimate Selling Machine, I think it's called.
That's right.
He talks about how he worked for, I forget who it was, but a billionaire, and he was running companies for him. So like he ran the MGM Grand in Vegas, and he turned around like 6 or 7 different companies for this guy. And if he needed to meet with them to talk about something, there were a couple rules. One is whatever he wanted to talk about had to fit on one piece of paper, and he had 20 minutes. That was it, because this guy's a billionaire and his time is important. He's not going to sit there and hang out with you for 3 hours and BS. You get in, you get out. there's a value to his time, right? And he thought, wow, I don't do that. And so he started changing how he interacted with his people, and he became way more effective because people would do God minutes to him all the time. And then the thing that I find with God minutes too, and it's almost fixed around here, but like you'll drop in every once in a while. Like I got to shut that down. Like yesterday, Christian just wanders over into my office, like real sneaky too. Like he comes in like it's almost like how would you describe it?
I don't know. But you're right. So that's a funny thing that you do. So this is all planned. Like it's kind of fun actually the way that we get to interact with each other because like I'm walking up the stairs and I already know what's about to happen, and then he gives me this look that like is, hey, by the way, you're doing the God a minute thing to me, and then I'm like processing and looking back at him and I'm saying, I know that I'm doing the God a minute thing to you. Like we almost don't even speak. There's been times when I've gone over there, gone halfway up the stairs and gone back down again just because of the dynamic.
Just opening the door then makes me stop whatever I'm doing, right?
Yeah, so now I just got to get in the hallway and turn around and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. Do that all day. It's just fun.
But I'm conscious of it.
Yeah, so the God a minute thing. And then I think the next one is focused on the right thing. So there's the analogy of who is it that wrote the book on time management that Vicky loves with the planner? Franklin
Covey. Yep.
Franklin Covey. So I've never been good at the Franklin Covey thing or the planner, but one of our coaches who I love to death and is the greatest, Victor. She's so good at that, like super organized with it. But the thing in the Franklin Covey training that did resonate with me and stick with me is they gave an analogy of getting the big things done and having priorities. So the idea is if you prioritize and have intention, and this goes back to the first one, is if you don't have an intention, you're going to really struggle with your time management because you don't have a purpose or a cause. But if you have a goal and an intention, and then you break that intention up into, hey, this week I want to accomplish this. So this week I'm going to redo the menus. And then next week I'm going to work with the advisors and I'm going to spend 2 hours a day out in the drive working with the advisors. This week I'm going to re-rack cars in the shop and I'm going to spend time with technicians or whatever it is. But if you have an intention and you break it up, the Covey analogy goes like this, is like if you have a bucket that's like half sand, right? And you have a pile of rocks and you need to get both in the bucket. If you pour the sand in the bucket and then try to put the rocks in, they won't fit because the bucket's half full of sand. But if you have an empty bucket and you put the big rocks in and then pour the sand over the rocks, everything fits. And so if you are clear about what your big items are that you need to accomplish every day, and you write them down or review some sort of list every day, then you'll get those big items done because they're a priority. So the priority and your intentions will drive your behavior.
Right, and then what we see a lot of times with procrastinators is they might get to a point where they do lists, but they get really good at doing the little stuff and leave the big stuff at the end, right? Yeah,
busy. You could get busy checking email, right? Like typical parts manager.
Yep.
Right? You could get busy calling back customers for advisors that don't actually do their job or whatever, But the secret is to hold people accountable more than anything else.
My favorite is when you hear the phone ring on a service drive and you look down and your advisors are putting key rings on their tags. You ever see that happen?
Yeah.
They can't answer the phone because they're doing that.
Makes me want to throw stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
Isn't it in some states it's legal to shoot an advisor for that, right?
Yeah, I think Alabama and Minnesota.
HR laws are tricky from state to state. Texas, for sure.
Texas, yeah.
Right? That's a joke, everybody, by the way. Okay, so that's the first one. And then, so eliminating God minutes is probably the next one. So how would you eliminate God minutes?
Live and die by my calendar. Like if someone wants to talk to me, they have to have access through that.
Yeah, and so in my situation, I have somebody else manage my calendar, which works really well. Because it also forces me to stick to the calendar too.
Yeah, so sometimes we're our own worst enemies on our scheduling, right? Like
sure.
Because it's really, especially Chris and I both, we're really, really good at just saying, yes, I'll help. And then before you know it, your calendar is triple booked. So having someone else, especially for you managing your calendar, makes a lot of sense. But live and die by it. Don't deviate from it. The second you deviate, you're opening up God of minutes.
And then the next one is, and Jordan Peterson kind of talks about this, and I like the way that he explains, like, why don't you plan out your calendar so that it's set up for you? Like, I think a lot of times most people go into their day and they're a victim of the day. Instead of, why don't you plan it like, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm going to spend, like, I know I'm better at writing early in the morning, so I'm going to do that in the morning. And then when do you want to call people back? Like, literally, like, just plan out your day and then add in something fun. Like, why don't you go somewhere for lunch or do something fun, or leave early every once in a while, or take a 2-hour lunch and take somebody with you? Like, why don't you take control of your calendar and make it work for you and make it fun, instead of just kind of going through the day, plodding along? And so I'd look at your calendar, your day, as like 60-minute intervals. And if you got 8 or 9 of those in a day, then plan it out. And don't make every day the same. Like, what I do on a Monday isn't what I do on a Wednesday or what I do on a Friday. So my Fridays, I keep pretty open. But on Monday, I'm doing strategy sessions. I'm on, any sort of business calls. But a lot of days, Monday and Tuesday, like every hour, I'm on some sort of call or talking to somebody. But then, the rest of the week, we're doing the show. And so we do that on a day. But I'm setting it up so I'm not doing things throughout the whole week that are more like work. I do a lot of the work stuff early in the week, so then I can enjoy and have the more creative stuff later in the week. And so that's for me. But for you, you should set it up how you're going to be most effective, instead of just letting the business dictate. It's your calendar.
Yeah.
Don't be a victim.
Well, I would say that I think that it's really important too to recognize Monday, though, is this thing that sets the stage for the rest of the week. So I think Monday, as far as getting that stuff accomplished, is probably the best day for that, regardless of what your position is. I think if you don't start it off right on Monday, the rest of the week can kind of get loose on you. So Monday has to be super structured, and that should be the day that you get stuff done.
Yeah, and it feels good when you knock a couple things off early in the week.
Yeah, like our team meetings kick butt because we do them on Monday.
Like, it wouldn't be the same if we did them on Friday.
Agreed.
But it kind of sets the tone for the week, right? So, yeah, there's take control of your calendar, God of minutes. And I think also it's important to put breaks in there. Mm-hmm. And then also, another thing to be effective in your time management is to schedule in time to walk around. Like, literally put it on your calendar. Like, for this half an hour, this hour, I'm going to just go walk around and listen to advisors. I'm going to go in the shop and talk to technicians and I'm going to walk the lot. You know how many times a manager never even knows what cars are parked out in the lot? Like, the open RO list is the only time they know that a car's been there for 2 months. But go look at the parking. Go walk around. Like, schedule that in your calendar. Because one thing that happens is if you schedule that in your calendar, you'll be way more effective because that time is dedicated to that. You'll never get to it otherwise.
Yeah, I think, too, in time management runs really closely with organization and being organized. If you're doing that lot walk every day, I think the one thing I would tell you is that what I've observed is that if a lot looks like crap, that the department a lot of times doesn't look very good either. So if you're not out there taking that time and doing that, you might not recognize what's going on with your own house construction.
Yeah.
So, and I just think that sometimes certainly getting out of the office if you're a manager and getting out and just getting a little bit of fresh air and walking outside is good for you too. It's good for the soul.
And then on top of that, I would schedule some one-on-ones. Schedule taking key people to lunch. Like, take vendors to lunch. Like, use your time and your lunches to make a connection or have an intention with it, not just, lunch.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think that that's one of the things, at least maybe I've seen it from my angle, but do you think so, is that our ability as business people to network has gotten worse over the last 10 years?
For sure. Texting and all that.
Yeah, that's missing right
There's
now.
no personal connection. And then COVID doesn't help with that.
No, not at all. But this was way before COVID that I noticed the decline in that. But man, I tell you what, I think that totally going off topic, but like when you think about F&I, right? Like, so the big thing with F&I was getting certain deals bought, and you got deals bought because you had a relationship with the bankers and stuff like that. And now it's all kind of gone by the wayside because it's all done by automatic approval, and it's not even faxed in anymore. It's just on through, Dealer Track or whatever, different kind of systems and formulas that you have. But man, I tell you what, when you've got that personal connection with the vendor, or maybe even like a manufacturer rep or a fluid rep or something like that, it just makes business way better. So I think that there's a starvation for that. Like that's out there, even if it's a matter of doing some sort of social distancing time with someone like that. But networking is something we should all get better at.
Yeah, I think so. The most important one of all this for time management is your value of yourself and your goals. If you have a higher value of yourself and you have real intention and real goals, the time management will in a lot of ways fix itself, because you won't want to waste your time doing things that aren't getting you closer to your goal. A lot of times people that struggle with time management either don't have value for their time, so they let people waste their time, or they don't have a clear goal. Because if you have a clear goal, you're going to focus on the big rocks and not the sand. And you can just train your mind to pay attention. Like, just think every 10 minutes. Like, is this thing that I'm doing getting me closer or further away from my goal? Great. And if it's getting you further away, get mad and change it. Don't let it happen. Like, stop it. But it's good. I love talking about time management. There's an art to it, for sure.
Yeah, it's a requirement of being an effective leader.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be an effective leader without having that mastered.
So we made a whole show out of a question, but I like the question. If we can help you with anything, you have a question, just remember the number's 8333 ask SDR. Leave a message on there, and if we play it on the show, we'll send you some swag. But we'll answer your question and give you some ideas. There's not much we haven't heard about. There's not too many things that stump us. Yeah, we've been around too long now for the old ones.
Yeah.
Nobody calls me the kid anymore.
No, but you're still pretty young at heart. Oh, you ever go camping?
No.
No, so...
You know why I don't go camping?
I'd love to hear why.
Because they invented this thing called a hotel. And in hotels, they have this phone. Like, it's like a magic phone.
Yeah, what happens?
You pick it up and then there'll be a button on there. Like, basically in every hotel, there's a phone with a button that will have like a fork and a knife.
Really?
And then you hit that button and you tell them like, hey, I want a cheeseburger. And then they bring it right to your room, and you can eat the cheeseburger in your room, in bed, watching TV or on your laptop or whatever. You never even have to leave the room.
It's like Postmates.
Sometimes like they'll have a bottle of wine, dessert, key lime pie, whatever.
And that's somehow better than camping?
None of that happens when you're camping.
No. So
camping is like people are stinky. Mm-hmm. They struggle with the food thing. Like sometimes, like I've had friends that camp and then you got to catch your own food. So you go camping with no food, and then the only way you eat is if you catch a fish or kill a bear or something.
Yeah.
No, I like the magic phone in the room with the fork and the knife on it. You just pick it up, you hit that, and then somebody's like, Mr. Collins in room whatever.
That does sound like much better in terms of time management.
Like, give us 20 or 30 minutes.
We'll add it to you.
It's magic. That never happens when you're camping. You know what else rarely ever happens when you're camping?
You don't have a jacuzzi?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're getting a different room than I'm getting, but no, they have showers and bathrooms with little personalized soap and shampoo in there.
Yeah, all for you.
The last time I was camping, my shower consisted of a bar of soap hidden under a dock at a lake.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, this one time, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were out camping. And Sherlock Holmes wakes up Dr. Watson in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. He says, Watson, look up. What do you see? Watson takes a second, looks up. Well, Holmes, I see millions and millions of stars. And Sherlock Holmes says, yes, Watson, that's correct. What does that tell you? Watson looks back up at the sky, just making sure you got it right. Well, it tells me that the universe is huge, right? And it's also, it's pretty silly of us to think that we're the only intelligent life forms in the universe. So I think that these stars are telling us that, that there are other life forms out there. Holmes looks at Watson and says, Watson, you're such an idiot. It means someone stole our tent.
Oh, such a long setup.
I know. And I let you go on your hotel diatribe,
you didn't
too.
even like try to interrupt my whole,
Nope.
trying to avoid the punchline about camping. Hilarious. I love it. Awesome. Well, I hope you got a chuckle out of that, and we helped you with your time management. We should have. Maybe you took some notes, learned something. And we will see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.